My name is Elizabeth Gonzalez, and I'm the presiding judge of the Civil Division of the 8th Judicial District Court. And we've worked very hard to have this day. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I'd like to thank Faubourg Chavez for being here from Senator Harry Reid's office, Assemblyman Paul and his wife Sari Aisley from the legislature, County Commissioner Tom Collins, and Chris Gianciliani. Barbara told me how. Virginia Valentine, our county manager, and assistant county manager Jeff Wells, Judge Lloyd George, our Chief Justice Ron Paragary, and Justice Michael Douglas from the Nevada Supreme Court, who both worked very hard on the access to justice issues that we're here about today. Judge Michelle Levitt, Stephanie Miley, Kathleen Delaney, myself, Bonnie Bulla, the Discovery Commissioner, Bill Gonzalez, and from our Las Vegas Justice Court, we have Chief Judge Ann Zimmerman, Melanie Andrus Tobiasen, Karen Bennett, Joe Bonaventure, Eric Goodman, Debbie Lippis, Nancy Osterly, Joe Cicento, and Diana Sullivan. From our North Las Vegas Justice Court, who's also being served by this Self-Help Center, we have Chief Judge Natalie Terrell and Justice Stephen Dahl. We have the Dean of the Law School of Boyd Law School, who assists us in many of our training efforts with Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada, John White. From the Board of Governors of the State Bar of Nevada, we have Cam Fehrenbach. We have our County Clerk, Diana Alba, Terry March. From North Las Vegas County Administrator, Linda Morris from Henderson, Chuck Short, our former CEO who was instrumental in this process, Steve Gerson, and Deborah Marsh, one of our councilmen from City of Henderson. So I want to thank all of you for being here. The support we've had from those who are elected officials has been incredible in getting this much needed project off the ground. Thank you very much. As you know, these are very difficult economic times for our country and many of our citizens. Today we are lucky to celebrate the grand opening of the Self-Help Center at the Regional Justice Center. It is our hope that the services that the Self-Help Center can provide to unrepresented civil litigants will assist many of those who are faced with civil cases in the justice courts and district courts here in Clark County. I wanted to thank all of you again for being here because I believe this is a very important step in providing access to justice to those in our community who cannot otherwise afford a lawyer. The Self-Help Center is the result of several years of persistence and hard work by a number of people on the district court. Chief Judges Hardcastle and Ritchie have been instrumental in making sure this project was brought to completion. Our former court administrator, Chuck Short, helped us come up with a solution to our funding issues by suggesting an increase in civil filing fees in both justice court and district court to help offset the expenses so we wouldn't have to ask the county for tax funds to pay for this center. Members of the County Commission have been very supportive and have understood the need of providing this service to the members of our community who can't otherwise afford an attorney. And I think for one of the first times in all history, the justice courts and district court in Clark County all work together, not just Las Vegas Justice Court, but Henderson Justice Court, North Las Vegas Justice Court, and our outlying justice courts, to make sure that we had forms that could be provided to those litigants who represent themselves and that could be accepted in all of the courts across the county. We also had a steering committee who's worked on this project for several years, and without those evaluating the needs that were present and finding ways to solve some of the problems we had, we wouldn't have been able to have the center here today. Our partner in the center is the Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada. The staff, with the leadership of Executive Barbara Buckley and Attorney Jim Berchtold, have made us a success in the few weeks that we've been open. Last month, they had a 98% satisfaction rating at the center for those people who were served. And I think in any kind of customer service arena, that is an excellent result. The Neighborhood Justice Center is also providing an important facet to our Self-Help Center, one that is not available in other self-help centers around the country. We have a trained mediator that's here at the Self-Help Center to be able to assist parties who want to go to mediation to resolve their matters without going through a trial in a courtroom. We are hopeful that through this opportunity that they have to work with a trained mediator, that we will reduce the number of self-represented litigants who have to go through a court trial. As many of you know, I've had a long history of working with other attorneys to provide legal services to those who can't otherwise afford an attorney. Shelley Berkeley, who was supposed to be with us here today, was at one time the coordinator of pro bono services for the Clark County Bar Association. There's a lot of people who are standing in the canyon here who have provided those kind of volunteer services, and we appreciate their efforts. And we will be calling upon you in the future because we're going to have an Ask a Lawyer program here at the Self-Help Center at the RJC.
Good afternoon. For those of you who I have not met yet, I am Judge Melissa Saragosa, and currently the Vice Chief Judge of the Las Vegas Justice Court. And together with Judge Diana Sullivan, we have 2 civil departments that hear the majority of all civil cases in the Las Vegas Justice Court. Civil cases handled by our court frequently involve litigants who are representing themselves. They are unfamiliar with their rights, court rules, procedures. Many times we've seen cases in the Las Vegas Justice Court where a landlord simply needed guidance on what form to file, or a tenant needed some direction on how to respond to a 5-day notice to pay or quit when they haven't received heat in the last few weeks and they don't know what to do. We've had cases recently with the foreclosure crisis where tenants have found themselves in a unique position where their landlord has had their home that they live in foreclosed upon, and they have no idea what to do or who to pay, and yet they want to stay, and they just need to answer some, or have some answers to questions that they have. We have people who want to file small claims actions, just need to know what the process is. In each of these situations, there are situations that have been a stumbling block for our pro per litigants, and the Civil Self-Help Center has been a tremendous asset and addition to our community in the short time that it's been here, or open since December 7th. Some of the answers that those various situations, to questions those situations have presented may have been on a website somewhere, or in some print form, but it just isn't the same as having a person to be able to go explain your unique situation to and get some guidance, whether you're a plaintiff or a defendant representing yourself in a court action. In the past, people have waited in line at the clerk's office simply to get a form to file. And all that has changed by the opening of this Civil Self-Help Center. There aren't those types of lines, and those questions are getting answered. And from the court's perspective, I can personally say that in the short time it's been open, Judge Sullivan and I both have seen a tremendous improvement in just the paperwork and the documentation that we've seen in our cases. Forms are completely filled out. Forms are legible. They adequately and clearly state a party's position, and the proper form has been used. I am so pleased to see the feedback, the 98% positive feedback rating that the Civil Self-Help Center has achieved since its opening. It truly demonstrates how much of a need this center filled, the gap that it filled in our community. The Civil Self-Help Center is truly improving the court's ability to handle its thousands and thousands of cases. And not just for Las Vegas Justice Court, but also for North Las Vegas Justice Court, Henderson Justice Court, and all of the outlying areas that can be serviced by this Civil Self-Help Center. I'm excited to see how the improvements that we will add, or the facets that we will add to this program, how that will, in addition, improve the processing and the handling of civil cases, such as the volunteer program or Ask a Lawyer program.
You have to come. I'm not safe with these. Come on. Lots.
Don't give it to Gibbons either.
Ready? Okay, a lot of pressure here.